Hey, I'm Noah.
Hey, I'm Tim.
And this is our comic strip style AP play of Dogs in the Vineyard.
Yeah, this is our second episode with Sister Clementine. We're continuing her time spent in the town of Hooper.
So yeah, let's just jump right into it.
Let's do it. Left my horse behind at the church, and I see the granary up ahead. It's a modest wood building with a steepled roof, and it's on stilts, so it's just a bit up above the ground. And as I'm walking the streets, I see this puddle of something dark, and I think, is that the blood from when Brother Edwin came to shoot the last steward down? I'm like, no, that was last summer. I can't help but compare myself to how Edwin would have handled that conflict if he would have been able to get Sister Edith to submit to the authority of the steward. I cast back my amber cloak so that the butt of my rifle is clearly sticking out, and I kick down that door and I shout, Brother Zachary. I'm thinking of Edwin and unfinished business.
You kick down the door, and there's 4 guys in the room, and they stop working. Large man, muscular, probably trimmed beard. He's wearing a long john top. He's underdressed for the weather, but probably because he's working hard. Yeah, he's pretty sweaty, and he's wiping his face with a cloth. He has a hammer in his belt loop, and he walks towards you. I'm Zachary.
Sister Clementine, as you can gather, I am a dog.
Tell by your cloak.
I'll make this quick. You are to submit to the authority of your steward and follow his orders to leave this town. So what's at stake is if Brother Zachary will submit to the will of his steward.
And I think Brother Zachary, he doesn't want to be forced out of town.
Show me in the good book where it says you can resist the authority of your steward.
Well, sister, I'm no expert in the good book. I just try to do what's right. But Sister Clementine, show me where in the good book it says a dog can come into town, shoot a good man, my brother Odell, and put a little worm like Clester in charge.
I unsling my rifle, and I say, you'll find it right here at the barrel of this gun if you talk about my brother and a dog as not being a man of justice and righteousness and shooting down yours. I'm escalating to get my gun out.
And he just kind of puts his hands up. There's probably 3 other guys in the room, though, and they're kind of tense, right? And they're near, and they've all got hammers, but nobody's making a move. None of them have guns.
So the barrel is trained on him, and I nudge it just a bit up and down. I say, what say you and me walk on outside? You stay on the other end of this, Brother Zachary.
His eyes get kind of hard, and he looks like a man who doesn't normally do violence, but has the capability to. And he pushes his chest right against the end of your rifle, and he says, after you. And you're blocking the door, so he can't really get by you anyway.
I push the barrel back into him, trying to force him back a couple steps. I say, if you want to make an example of yourself today, then you'll set a fine standard of what not respecting authority means in this town. I'm staring him dead in the eyes.
I think he backs up as you push him with your gun more towards the middle of the room. He says, I'm not trying to get shot here. I just wish you'd let me tell my side of the story too. As he's got this gun to his chest, he says, now, I didn't know that Edwin was your brother, and I apologize for my comment about that, but you probably saw the church. Since Clester's been in charge, faith hasn't been doing well. What say you, we go talk, me, you, and Clester?
My eyes are downcast. I'm not looking at him for a moment, and as I hear those words, I think that he might be the most level-headed man in this town, but I know that once you get your foot dug into the ground, like you just got to carry through no matter who has to go down. I falter. Just a bit. You have a good point. Bringing this out into the light of the King of Life, the light of the steward. Sure, let's go outside. I take steps backward, gun still pointing at him, but then once I'm at the threshold, I'll turn around and start walking down those stairs, expecting him to follow.
Okay, so you just walk him through the street at gunpoint. Yeah. You're just walking behind him?
Yeah, that's the hope.
I think people see this probably, huh? And maybe, is that your intention too? You want people to see this?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I don't mind a crowd right now.
Okay, and I think as you start walking back to the church, people follow you, you know. They're like, whoa, what's going on? We want to see what's going to happen, you know. And I think this has been brewing, you know, since Edwin left.
Yeah.
So as you guys are walking through town and, you know, there's crowds forming, he's got his hands up still, and he just kind of leans back and he says, you know, we don't have to make a spectacle of this. I just wish you'd listen to my side of the story before casting judgment on me.
I say justice is always a spectacle.
Yeah, so you guys walk into the church. The door's been reopened since you slammed it shut.
Right.
And you see Brother Clester at the pulpit, and you probably walk Zachary up to him. And so it's the three of you in front of an empty church. You've got your gun out. They don't have guns.
Right.
I think people start filling in. I don't think they take seats necessarily, but they're like kind of lining the back wall.
Right.
And maybe as you're walking, you see a couple faces at the windows on the sides. So the town's watching this interaction for sure.
Okay. Brother Clester.
Sister Clementine, well, you sure don't waste time.
Brother Zachary now knows the weight of his actions should he not listen to your edict this time. So perhaps repeat for any ears that have not heard it. What must he do if he does not submit to your authority?
You see Clester kind of glance to the side, and framed to the side is that room that you had your original conversation, and Edith is standing in the doorway, scowling at him, and nods at Clester to go on, tell him.
That's what I want. That's what I want. Okay.
Yeah, and so he's looking at Edith, and he's like, Zachary, I order you to leave town. You were tearing this community apart. So I think we should do stakes here again.
I think what's at stake is will I have to kill this man?
Okay, and for Zachary, well, what he wants is to not leave town and not get shot. Clester wants, what he wants is to be the man that Edwin set him up to be. Zachary says, now, hold on a minute, Clester. Sister Clementine brought me here and didn't shoot me so that we can talk this out a little bit.
I am not here as an arbitrator. I am here so that when justice is doled out appropriately, there is the correct audience. And I look up to the rafters, now to the people.
Zachary says, this town, when your brother came to town and declared my brother Odell a sinner, I've got no qualms with that. That's a dog's decision. But to put a man, or rather, should I say, a woman like Edith in charge of this town, well, just ain't right. And you maybe hear some murmuring from the crowd.
It is not for you, a follower, to judge the merit of those that the King of Life sees worthy of his office. He is your steward. You submit. Frankly, Zachary, it is that simple. So
Clester says, yeah, that's right, Zachary, and it ain't your place to talk about my wife anyway. I'm the steward, and I say get.
Brother Clester does have the divine authority, and while he is young, he will come into his own voice and not the voice of any other, should we support him as followers of the King of Life like we are.
Clester chimes in and says, yeah, The problem's not the way I run this church. The problem is that you and your damn presence in town has got nobody listening to me. You're always undermining me. You get out of town, church will be fine. Zachary says, everybody in town knows that if I leave, Edith is going to be in charge. And we all know how she's a hateful woman. Ever since she got kicked by that horse, ever since she pursued me and then I married another, she's had it out for me and my family. And after Zachary says that, you hear some more muttering in the crowd, maybe a little amen.
That sounds like the ramblings of a jealous, spiteful man, Brother Zachary.
Sister Clementine, listen to this man accusing my wife, stepping out of place, stepping across who should be the steward, a man in charge of his wife. You can see that Zachary is just full of lies and hatred. Zachary, this sister has judged you and judged you ill fit. You leave this town and you let Hooper continue on without you. Zachary is out of dice. So I think he gives in at this point. And so he gives in and says, all right, Sister Clementine, I think you're making a big mistake here, but you're the law. Me and mine will be out of Hooper. Once Zachary says that, he's like, the crowd is all. It's a little noisy in here. Like everybody's talking and whispering to each other. Mm-hmm.
I bang my gun against the pulpit to get their attention.
Okay. And as you do that, you probably have to do it a couple times, but the room silences.
Yeah. Let this be a lesson that authority is and always will be black and white. The King of Life sees strength in all, in simple men, in friendly, likable men. But when he instills their authority, it is the community's responsibility to build them up, to support them. And if you start these needling doubts over the quality of your steward, you sow a deadly seed that will sprout and will eat away at this very community. I flash a glare at Sister Edith. Yeah, so I stride down the aisle. I don't close the doors behind me this time. I leave them open so that the cold, bright light from outside will shine upon their sins. I jump onto my trusty horse. I got better places to be. Because you cock it and then you pull the hammer. Shit.
I cock the hammer? I pull the hammer back.
Okay.
I
just know I'm gonna really dramatically say the wrong thing. I triggered the cock.
Hi, this is Jason from the Gauntlet Gaming Community. If you enjoyed this episode of Comic Strip AP, please consider supporting the Gauntlet on Patreon. Our page can be found at patreon.com/gauntlet.